In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. And we're going to have a great opportunity today to talk about one of the most important aspects of authentic marketing, which is telling your story, getting your message in front of people directly. We're going to talk about it in terms of podcasting and live events. And my guest today is Jeff Revilla, is the visionary founder of Paduty Live, a state-of-the-art podcast theater in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, dedicated to revolutionizing the podcast experience through live audience interaction. With over 2 decades of experience in digital marketing and a profound passion for multimedia production, Jeff has seamlessly blended technology and community to create a unique venue that enhances how digital content is consumed and enjoyed. Jeff, welcome. So thanks for showing up and being part of the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. Looking forward to our discussion.
And I hope I didn't butcher all the names on that one.
No, I love it. Great introduction. Thank you. Very
all
kind.
Right.
It's like, hey, almost too kind for me.
Yeah. Well, podcasting, I think, is it's still one of the biggest hidden secrets, most obvious, but hidden secrets in marketing, and how especially small businesses, I think, should be approaching their marketing content. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, every business almost should be their own media company at this point, right? It's 2025. The tools are there. The opportunities are there. The way to get your name in front of people is to be present on the platforms that your customers are on or where your fans are hanging out. It's almost your responsibility to not just spend advertising dollars, but to engage, to inspire, to put out content that just makes people want to be around you and hang out with you and, visit your establishment. And there's really no excuse to not be doing that today.
No, I agree. The tools are all very accessible, right? I think what I see when I'm having conversations with business owners or CEOs is maybe they're camera shy. That's one thing, which is still interesting, right? Yeah. Or they don't really know what to talk about and how to approach the pod that way. What do you think? What are some of your answers for that?
Yeah, a lot of times the marketing department might come up with an idea and the CEO jumps right on it, like, that's a great idea. I've been reading about this. Or, the marketing, the chief marketing officer is like, yeah, I want to be a part of that too. But those two people might not be the best face for your company. You often see that, they have a different skill set, a different mindset. They're not
Right.
performers necessarily. They can motivate a team, they can move an organization, but to get on front of a camera weekly, you almost want to find like the biggest fan within the organization who loves the company, who's going that extra mile all the time, and who's recruiting customers and recruiting employees to work for you. That bubbly person, that person who just has the passion, that's probably the right choice for the face of your business. It may not always be the CEO or the CMO.
No, I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, tell me about Paduty. I don't know why it's hard for me to understand exactly what you're doing there. So tell it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah, what it is, it's a live theater experience for podcasts. And the easiest way to think about it is, if you want to go see a comedian, you're going to go to a comedy club. If you want to go see a music act, you're going to go to a venue or a bar or a hall or somewhere to go view that. You associate this entertainment with these places.
Right.
So we all know that people are listening to podcasts. There's a tremendous amount of consumption happening, whether it's your morning commute, your morning workout. But is there another way to experience a podcast? Is there a way to get in front of people? We know that celebrities, comedians they're filling up arenas now with their podcasts. They're going to, like, we have Carnegie Hall and the Benedum Center here in Pittsburgh.
Right.
They're filling these theaters up, these, massive theaters. So we know it's happening. We know that people are starting to go think of podcasting as entertainment. They're going out for a night on the town and following their favorite podcaster. But like you and I right now, we're in our home studios, right? I'm comfortable. I come here, I flip a switch, I start recording. It's easy. It's after work. I know that I'm going to get a pretty good consistent sound the whole time, and I'm used to that. But between my home studio and Madison Square Garden, there's nothing. There's no bridge, or there's no pathway for the average, independent podcaster to start filling arenas. So
Right.
the way we had, I always go back to the '80s again, right? The '80s had these wonderful heavy metal tours, like the Monsters of Rock tour, and
Absolutely.
like
Yep.
bands on one ticket. And then you had Lollapalooza in the '90s, and even Woodstock Revival, where you have these massive, bills full of a lot of acts. And when bands go from town to town, what do they need? They need opening acts. They need middle bands, right? They need people to open for them to provide enough value for the ticket price.
Right.
So you go see one band, but you're really seeing 3 different bands. And so what I think is gonna happen, the same way the music industry evolved to having 3 or 4 bands on a bill, well, a podcast at a local arena, it's gonna get competitive, and you're not gonna be able to justify a $100 ticket for a 60-minute show. Someone else is gonna come to town for a $100 ticket and a 2 or 3-hour show because they booked opening acts for that night. So they're
Right.
gonna deliver more value. And the problem we have is this disconnect between our home studios and getting enough people with enough talent to fill these arenas. So what I'm trying to do is be that middle bridge. I'm trying to help develop talent for the stage so that when these large acts come to town, guess where they're going to pull from? The people who have experience on stage. So that's what I'm trying to build, something like a comedy club, but for podcasts, and this middle ground to help independent podcasters get to the Madison Square Gardens.
Well, I love that. So then what sort of acts, what sort of podcasts have you had that have been using this venue?
All kinds. Like, I do a trivia show. We have like interactive shows where you can actually play along on your phone, whether you're in the theater or watching at home. We have a great storytelling podcast coming in this weekend. That's called Crips and Corks. They tell ghost stories and they pair it with a wine. So it's
Nice.
amazing. I got a magician coming in. We've had fundraisers and events and training, and we do meetups in Pittsburgh here where I buy pizza and drinks for all the local podcasters, and we all come out, hang out on a Saturday night, network, meet each other to, then start to collaborate on each other's shows locally. So the stage is very, very multi-purpose. I'm able to do many, many types of events. We're able to try new things. Like, if you have an idea, like, hey, I was driving home, I thought it'd be crazy if we just, had like a wheel on the stage and maybe spun the wheel and then, like, had people pop in and out. Like, those are the things I want to try. Like, we're very experimental. Like, if you have a single idea, we'll test it out. Like, I'll 100% back it, and we'll try it out on like a Monday or a Tuesday and see what happens.
That's interesting. So it's a blend of somewhat of a live show and a traditional podcast.
Yeah. Almost like, the easiest way to think of it is, think of Saturday Night Live. When you watch Saturday Night Live, there's a live audience watching the actors on the stage,
Yeah.
and then it's surrounded by a camera crew that's broadcasting that to the world. So if you look behind me, there's cameras over the truss, and there's cameras on the back wall. So it's really like this little Saturday Night Live studio where all this is being covered and broadcasted out. So your run-of-the-mill podcaster can show up like a television studio, and they're broadcasting to the world that night. So you could start with an idea and then be broadcasting within 24 hours.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. What are some of the other shows that you have coming up in the near term?
We just booked the Savage Unfiltered show from Florida. They're coming up. Michael Gardner is coming in from Florida in August. We have the Ebonize Your Business in September. We have our Paduti Fest. It's a 2-day podcast festival where every 30 minutes we put a new podcast on the stage, and It's a lot of fun for 2 days. We hang out. We're going to try to get a sponsor for an after party between Saturday and Sunday. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area in September, look us up for sure. We have an energy clearing show we just announced today in May. And then we keep adding and adding. We have improv classes coming up where we're going to be doing weekly improv classes and an improv event to take improv skills and apply them to being a better host or being a better podcaster. How can you
Love
take
that. Yeah.
these little things that improvers do
Right.
and apply them to your daily life, to public speaking, to being a host? So a lot of good things coming up in the short term. And then we're going to be celebrating our 1 year on June 13th. So it's my birthday is June 12th.
Love it.
And June 13th, we're going to have a big giant party.
Oh, that's amazing. So then how about me as a remote podcaster? How do I interact and leverage what you've got going on to better my show?
Yeah, so our stage is fully interactive. It's almost like a portal to the world where I can be on stage hosting a show. My guest doesn't necessarily have to be right next to me. My guest could be in Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon, or Oklahoma, or Poughkeepsie. It doesn't matter. Behind this curtain, for those of you watching the live, behind this curtain, there's a 72-inch TV. So if I'm on stage, I could just start pulling you up on screen, have the same conversation like we're having now, but in front of a studio audience, and then broadcasting that out to the people watching virtually.
Oh, interesting. And so so I could have an event at your spot for Paduty Live, and I can be remote, but your audience could be there drinking beer from Reno, Nevada that I send over there for everybody to enjoy.
You could ship it on in, and I'm sure we'll find some consumers for that. We are right next door to a bar, and the way that the tickets are packaged, everybody gets a copy of the live show, whether you're in person or not, and you get access to the recording for 7 days.
Yeah.
But let's say you were in my theater, you're watching me on stage doing my nonsense, and you're like, oh, you know what? There's a bar next door. I want to get some mushroom bites and a beer, a tall boy. And you can pull up your phone and actually pull up the show on your phone, walk over to the bar, get your drink, order your food, and then come back, never missing anything in the show and leaving comments. You could still be commenting at the bar next door and then pop back into the theater, and you never missed a beat.
Oh, wow. I love it. It's such a interesting blend of what we have for experiences now, but then also like all that interactive part of TV that we always wanted to have, but never really did have.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a shoestring budget. You used to have to spend millions of dollars to build a television station, and all in on this place with there's chairs, there's stages, there's trusses, the sound system. It's not even a $10,000 investment to put something like this together now. So you can have your own TV station, not licensed by the FTC. I'm not sure how all that works, but I'm using TV in quotes.
Yes, understood.
I'm sure there's some laws. I'm not a TV station, but you can live stream as a theater for a budget that you put the right pieces together. I did some thrift shopping. I bought a lot of stuff through Amazon auction sites. I bought like the chairs. I got for $2 a piece from a Catholic school that was closing. So I got these big old ugly orange chairs. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. And then I found this building, and they fit so perfectly in this room. And the stage came from a karate school. I bought the stage from a karate school.
Interesting. Yeah.
Tons of pipe and drape, kind of marking off the room and giving boundaries to the stage. If you shop around and do it, patiently. It took me about 2 years to really assemble everything. You can really build something pretty amazing on a shoestring budget.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So let's see. I'm trying to think. Like, would I be able to? I'd be able to teach a class even in where you are, right? And that way,
Yeah,
I could remote
the
in.
stage has full HDMI capability. So I have a podium. We can switch out. There's so many different furniture arrangements, but we can put a podium on there. We have an HDMI cable you can plug into your laptop. That laptop would feed the TV that's up on stage, that big 72-incher.
Yep.
And everybody in the audience is now following along. You're giving instruction. The people watching at home, also that feed goes to the online feed. So now your laptop is powering the live stream and the house video.
So you have a background in theater, and is that kind of how you got all these things connected together?
No, not at all. I always say, like, if it looks good, it's all by accident. Like the way that this all pieced together really was just kind of like, like the heavens opening up and blessing me with what you see behind me. But my background's in marketing. I owned one of the first mail order skateboard companies, not mail order, but internet companies back in 2000.
Nice.
I had a skateboard shop and a skate park, and then I went into automotive. So I still stayed with vehicles with four wheels.
Wheels, yeah.
I am a marketing director for the last 15 years for a fairly large auto group. So, you know, podcasting became such a part of my life in maybe 2007, 2008. I don't know if I still have it. Oh, here it is right here. My first color iPod. It's
Nice.
engraved and it has the year Happy Father's Day 2007 on the back. So I fell in love with shows like Marketing Over Coffee and the Bean Cast, and Joseph Jaffe had a show back then, and that ability to sit there while I was packing orders for mail order skateboarding and just getting this amazing education from these thought leaders in marketing
Yeah.
really just opened my mind to what independent media can be and what you can do with it. So I've studied podcasting for a dozen plus years, and then dipped my toes in hosting my first show in 2011, and my trivia show started in 2015. We've been doing that for 10 years now.
Yeah. Wow. Those are always fun, especially when you're in a bar, you can have a cocktail and compare notes with the other nerds in the bar. I love
it. I love sharing and even like problem solving for new podcasters. One of my favorite things about this industry is some things that just seem so, you've done it so many times, but to somebody new, it's a whole new world to them, and they're experiencing new things, they're new technical problems, and they're trying to overcome these hurdles. And when you've gone through it already and you can share that knowledge
Yeah.
and help them get to that next level, that's one of the most rewarding things I found about podcasting so far. Is just when you see that spark in somebody that's so new to them, they're like all in, you just love being able to give them like the value or give them the tools to get to the next level. And then you see them grow and it's like, wow, maybe I do know something,
Yeah, no, that's true. And there's a lot of moving parts to podcasting. And especially when you're first getting started, you kind of like you're doing all the activities yourself, right? So you got to figure out like which camera to buy, what kind of mic, how am I going to connect everything, and then how the heck am I going to edit this? And then I've got to then figure out how to get onto Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even things like as much as podcasting has evolved and has become more of a video or multimedia, piece of content, still the basics of people don't understand now. Like almost the newcomers, a podcast host almost seems archaic to them. An RSS feed is not even in their wheelhouse yet,
Right.
because they know, like, oh, I do a podcast and I put it on YouTube. Well, yeah, like doing one of these again.
Yeah, right.
Like I still have that old mentality that this podcast is an MP3 file distributed by an RSS feed to your podcast app. Like I still buy into that, and I want to make sure that when we are on the stage, we get a good quality audio recording.
Yeah.
Because I want this to be a podcast released episode. But I'm also living in 2025, and I know that what a podcast is to most people now has expanded to video, audio, social clips, and all these other aspects of it. And I want to embrace that too. But I am still making sure when you walk out this door after your show, you get a high quality MP3 version of your show. That's still important to me to kind of maintain what a podcast is. But I'm also going to give you the video for you to distribute on YouTube or Spotify for video.
Right. Yeah. Well, that is interesting. That how much more the clips are consumed, right? Like some of my shorts are, they're being viewed 100 times more than long form video.
Yeah, the velocity of shorts. Doing this on your phone all night, you can take in 100 pieces of media in the time it would take you to read like 10 Facebook posts. So
Right.
there's so much more. But what you lose in that viewership is the retention of, yeah, okay, I was on TikTok for an hour and I watched 100 videos. Okay, tell me who they were.
Right.
Right?
What's the net
Well,
result
yeah.
of that time? Yeah.
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 Like, yeah, did you subscribe to them? Probably not, because the TikTok algorithm is pretty good to just give you the content that you like.
Right.
You probably don't know what that creator's name is. You probably don't know like their channel or where to find them. You might go back through history and be like, doom scroll through your history to find out what I looked at.
Yeah.
But you lose a little bit of retention. Some of the longer forms with YouTube, with Facebook, there's still a lot of people churning through your content, but I think the retention is a lot higher and people engage a lot more.
Yeah, I would agree. All right. Well, give me the short list. What are the 3 things somebody who does not have a podcast right now, what are the 3 things they should do to be up and running in the next, say, 4 weeks?
Yeah, start. I guarantee you have enough equipment already. Whatever you're worried about, whatever you're thinking that you think you need, I guarantee you have a laptop. I guarantee you have a way to record audio or video. If you don't, there's enough free resources just to get you started. So, step 1, start. Step 2, the thing that held me up for the longest time
Yeah.
is was me. I realized that nobody cares about me, but I'm sitting here thinking about how I sound, how I look, and the only person thinking about me is me. I'm
Right.
holding me back. Everybody else has bills to pay. They got to get groceries. They got to drop the kids off at soccer. I realized if they chose to listen to me for 30 minutes or however long, my only goal is to deliver them the content that helps them escape from whatever they're doing. Because I do a lot of entertainment, so I'm giving people entertainment. But if you're delivering value for their business, your goal is to deliver values. They chose you. They're not thinking about how you sound or how you look.
Right.
So don't worry about you. You're the only one thinking about you. Nobody else cares about you. So that was very liberating for me, and was kind of like the catalyst that lit the spark for me. I'm like, wait a second. They're not thinking about me. They're just trying to pay their bills.
Right.
And then finally, let's say you do record, you have a home laptop, maybe a little USB microphone or a headset. If you don't have a professional audio or editor, I just tell people Adobe Podcast Beta right now, you can upload your MP3 file. I think you get for free like 2 hours a week.
Right.
You can I guarantee you, if you recorded on your laptop with your home audio in a quiet room, ran that MP3 through Adobe Podcast Beta, you would have professional sounding audio years beyond what you would learn from editing. So, step 1, start. Step 2, don't worry about how you look or sound. You'll get better and more comfortable on the microphone. And step 3, utilize some of those tools that give you that professional edge that you didn't have just 3 years. Adobe Podcast Beta only came out in the last year. So,
Right.
you didn't even have that tool a year ago. So, take advantage of these things. And I think all you have to do is sign up for an account and you get like 2 free hours a week.
Well, I love that. Getting started, getting out of your own way, not being too worried about all the technical stuff, but creating that velocity forward.
Yeah, it's all about momentum in podcasting. If you can't build a system that you can't repeat week after week, you're not going to make it past 10 episodes.
Right.
If you're doing too much, you're going to be your own roadblock. And it's more important to get the behaviors and the habits that let you repeat the podcast week after week than it is waiting to buy a Shure, SMB, whatever it is.
Right.
Just you have enough to get started. Work on the behaviors that make it repeatable week after week. Because your first episode, it's going to be a little rough. It's not going to be your best episode you've ever recorded.
For sure.
But by your 10th episode, it's going to be a lot better. By your 50th episode, it's going to be even better. And by 100, it'll be amazing. So it's more important to have a repeatable process than to focus on all these technical things. I promise you can do enough to get started right away without even investing any more than stuff you already have. You have enough to get started.
Yeah, that's perfect advice, and I agree with you. Get started, build some systems, and realize that you have a story and that you have an interest in whatever you're interested in, and get interesting guests that are interesting to you, and then tell their stories too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's your story. You're the interest. You're the reason why people are subscribing. You may have had I work in marketing. You may also work in marketing, but the stories that we have over the last 5 to 10 years, I'm sure we've all run AdWords. We've all run social media posts. We've all done all these things, but we all have a different perspective. We all have a different story. And we want to hear your story. So make sure, be authentic to yourself and tell what you know.
Well, Jeff, I love what you're doing, and I would love to beam in on one of your shows and be able to see and interact with the audience. And if I am ever in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania part of the world, I'm going to make sure that I stop in and see you at Paduti and have an event there.
Sounds good. You tell me when. The date's already saved for you.
I appreciate that. Let's see. How do people get in touch with you if they want to talk about it?
Yeah, Paduti.com, Poduty, a nice little 6-letter domain name, Paduti.com. On there's a form to connect with me, or email me directly, jeff@Paduti.com.
Well, I really appreciate your time this evening. Thank you very much. And I wish you the best of luck at Paduti.
Paduti! Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
All right. I'm glad. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you.
Thanks. What an interesting concept, and a great blend of getting people together in the same room or getting messages out via the internet. So check it out, Paduti Live. And make sure you say hi to Jeff Revilla if you get out and see him. I hope that you are going to do some good marketing this week, that you're going to find some AI tools to save you some time so you can spend more time with your family, your friends, and getting outside and seeing what's going on in nature. This is Emmanuel, and I will see you again real soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.